Do you know fat gives the feeling of satiation or satisfaction? And the best weight loss diet is a diet that stops your hunger. And fat stops the hunger. So what's happening on this high carbohydrate diet? People have eliminated the fat and they're eating lots and lots and lots of this, not realising that that excess glucose, once we've filled up the energy cycle, we've filled up the glycogen stores, and so now the body sends it to the fat cells. And on this high carbohydrate diet, what's happening to Americans and Australians? They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Are you one of those people who have tried every diet out there but still struggle to lose weight? In the United States, nearly 42% of adults are classified as obese and millions more are overweight. Weight loss can feel like an uphill battle with conflicting advice everywhere you turn. But what if I told you that shedding those extra pounds doesn't have to be complicated? By focusing on natural methods, the right diet, and simple lifestyle changes, you can achieve lasting results without extreme restrictions or gimmicks. So do you want to learn how to lose weight in a way that actually works? Stay tuned. But before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from today? Drop a comment below and feel free to ask any questions you may have. Let's get started.
And another fact, another very misunderstood fact, is that glucose burns at 4 calories per gram, whereas fat, it burns at 9 calories per gram. Now this piece of information, which is fact, is in just about every weight loss book as proof that if you want to lose weight, don't eat the fat. It's going to give you more than twice the calories. But what the people don't understand is what a calorie is. A calorie is a unit of energy. And if you want a high energy food, what do you eat? Fat. It's going to give you more than twice the units of energy compared to glucose. But if you're eating more calories than you can burn, yes, it's going to be stored. That's why one of the best things that you can do for weight loss is to eat breakfast like a king. I have to admit that I think I eat lunch like a king and breakfast like a queen, but whatever. And sometimes the queen eats as much as the king. Lunch like a queen, and then tea like a pauper, or you call it supper, yeah? I think that when I say tea, you probably think I mean a cup of tea, yeah? But we call an evening meal tea. And as one lady said to me, well, what do paupers eat? I said, sometimes nothing. What many people are doing today, and I see it in many countries I go to, they eat breakfast like the pauper, they eat lunch like the pauper, and the tea or the supper is the king and the queen together. That's like going on a journey, and you start your long journey and you go to the gas station, we call it a petrol station, call it a gas station, and just put a little bit in. And then an hour later, put a little bit more in. And then an hour later, put a little bit more in. And then you've done this all day. And then you finally get to your destination, you go into the gas station and you fill your tank and then park it in the garage. How much sense does that make? And yet that's what most people are doing. Little bit here, little bit there, little bit there. End of the day, king and the queen together, and the body says, finally, we've got some nourishment. And then they say, oh no, they've gone to bed. So what are we going to do with all these calories, these units of energy? We're just going to have to store them. It's really only probably the last 100 years that the main meal has been had at the end of the day. In fact, traditionally, the main meal was always in the middle of the day, especially before electricity, because they didn't have the light at night and it was just more convenient. And one mother said to me, I put my millet on at night, so by morning, when I get up, there it is, hot, ready to eat. She said, I wash my slow cooker, and then I put my soaked beans that I've rinsed and brought to the boil and rinsed again, put them in, put the vegetables, and put the slow cooker on again. She's a homeschool mum. She says, because I feed the children so well in the morning, how does she feed them? She feeds them a high fibre diet. All your plant foods have fibre. She feeds them generous proteins. So what are the proteins? Legumes, nuts, seeds, they're your best proteins. And healthy fats. Healthy fats are found in your nuts, your seeds, your coconut oil, olive oil. They're the two oils that have stood the test of time. Yeah? They've been used for centuries. And when white man went to the South Pacific Islands, he said, stop eating the coconut oil. It's going to cause you to be obese. It's going to give you heart disease. It's going to give you diabetes, cancer. And they all said, what's that? And they've been eating the coconut oil for centuries. But they listened to the white man. I was on the Fiji Islands. Do you know, before the white man came, cannibalism was pretty big. You know, there were some scary spiritual practices that they used to partake of. Sometimes if a child happened to walk in an area that was considered sacred, that child had to be thrown in the river to given to the spirits. You know, there were a lot of crazy things there. So the Fijians were freed from many harmful practices. So they listened to the white man. But they could have taught the white man how to eat. So the white man said, stop eating the coconut, it's going to give you all these problems. So they listened. And then white man introduced 5 lethal whites. White sugar, white rice, white flour, white refined salt, and white cow's milk. They stopped the valuable white, the coconut, and brought in the 5 lethal whites. And if you go to the South Pacific Islands today, you will find diabetes, you will find heart disease, you will find obesity. I was in the Cook Islands a few years ago. Wonderful place. When I arrived, they just put lathes and big floral arrangements all around my head, all around me. They're very warm, very welcoming. You can go around the whole island in about an hour. And I was teaching basic health principles, and I was surprised how large the people are. You see the bread shops and the cake shops have come in. And I know in the Fiji Islands, hot bread shops are open till 11 o'clock at night. And anyone who walks past that shop, and I think we all know the lovely smell of cooked bread. Oh, and they are big. They're obese, they have got disease, not because of the coconut, but because they've stopped the coconut. You see, it's not the fat that makes you fat. It's actually these refined carbohydrates. Now, carbohydrates are not bad. What a relief, we like them. The problem is when they're overdone and refined. That's the problem.
Eating too many refined carbohydrates is one of the biggest reasons people struggle with weight gain. Have you ever noticed how after eating white bread, pasta, or sugary snacks, you feel full for a little while but then get hungry again soon after? That's because these foods break down quickly into sugar, causing a spike in blood sugar levels. When that happens, your body releases insulin to bring blood sugar back down, but any extra sugar that isn't used for energy gets stored as fat, especially around the belly. And here's the tricky part. When your blood sugar crashes after that spike, your body craves more sugar and carbs to bring it back up. That's why you might find yourself reaching for another snack even when you just ate. This cycle keeps repeating, making it harder to lose weight and easier to store fat. So what should you eat instead? The goal is to choose foods that keep your blood sugar steady and keep you feeling full longer. Instead of white bread and pasta, go for whole grains like quinoa, brown rice, and oats. These have fibre, which slows digestion and prevents blood sugar spikes. For snacks, try healthy fats and proteins like nuts, seeds, or Greek yogurt. These will keep you satisfied without triggering cravings. Instead of grabbing a sugary drink or juice, eat whole fruits like apples, berries, or oranges, which have fiber to slow down sugar absorption. Vegetables like spinach, broccoli, and bell peppers are great because they're low in calories but packed with nutrients and fiber. And don't forget healthy fats from avocados, olive oil, and fatty fish like salmon. They help keep you full and balance your blood sugar.
You will find that the majority of trainers today are training their athletes with the high-intensity interval training, because they have found when they train with the high-intensity interval training, they have got an edge. And that's what it's all about in the competition games, in the Olympic Games, isn't it? Having an edge. I was watching in the games in Beijing. I was travelling a lot, and every time I travelled, I'd be watching it up on the screen. I love watching it, because don't we love excellence? And it was the first time they were doing a 10-kilometre swim, and it was in this big lake in Beijing. And there was it was the American, and I think the Russians were up there, but the favourite was the British girl. But she was about third or fourth. And in the last kilometre, it was just thrilling, she couldn't get past them because of the kicking of their legs. So she had to go sideways, go around them, and she won the race. And I thought, wow, was she training with the high intensity? Because they're giving it everything they've got. But it appears that this just gives an edge. And what I am very thankful to Doug McGuff for, in his book Body by Science, he goes inside the cell and he shows exactly what is happening. But there's more. When you're getting to the end of maybe your third set of high intensity, your glycogen stores have all been used up. Remember that your quick release glucose stores, they're all getting used up. So I think possibly by the end of your third set of high intensity, you've used up your glycogen stores and you're needing more fuel. You've got 3 more to go. And the body sees that. And so it speaks to the pituitary gland to release the human growth hormone. Now, the human growth hormone is very active when we're growing. But when we stop growing, the human growth hormone goes into retirement. I stopped growing at 16, that probably doesn't surprise you. But my son William, he grew 2 inches from 19 to 22. He was very happy about that. He wondered if he'd ever grow. But when we stop growing, the human growth hormone goes into retirement. But when we're doing the high intensity exercise and the body sees that we need some more fuel, it causes a release of the human growth hormone, which stimulates a release of hormone-sensitive lipase. So what's hormone-sensitive lipase? Lipase is an enzyme that breaks down fat. And underneath the tongue, there's the lingual, sublingual glands release lingual lipase. That breaks down saturated fat. Our bile releases, our liver releases bile, it breaks down fat. And the pancreas releases pancreatic lipase, breaks down the polyunsaturated fats. So lipase is your fat splitting enzyme. So why does the human growth hormone release hormone-sensitive lipase? To release the fat stores. The human growth hormone also stops the body from burning glucose as fuel and become a fat burner. We know why it becomes a fat burner, because remember what fat's going to do? It's going to give more than twice the units of energy compared to glucose.
High-intensity interval training, or HIIT, is one of the best ways to lose weight because it pushes your body to burn fat long after your workout is over. Ever wonder why some workouts leave you sweating but don't seem to do much for fat loss while others make a huge difference? That's where high IT comes in. When you do short bursts of intense exercise followed by rest, your body quickly burns through its stored energy, glycogen, Once that's gone, it has to switch to burning fat for fuel. And here's the best part. Fat gives you more than twice the energy of glucose, meaning your body becomes a super efficient fat-burning machine. But it doesn't stop there. HIIT also triggers something called the afterburn effect, scientifically known as excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, or EPOC. This means your body keeps burning calories for up to 24 hours after you finish your workout. It's like getting bonus fat burning time without doing anything extra. Another cool thing about HIIT, it helps your body release important hormones like growth hormone and adrenaline. These hormones tell your body to burn fat instead of muscle, which is exactly what you want when trying to lose weight. Plus, it improves how your body handles insulin, meaning less sugar gets stored as fat, especially around your belly. And let's be real, who has hours to spend at the gym? The beauty of HIIT is that you can get incredible results in just 20-30 minutes. So if you want to burn fat, boost your metabolism, and keep your workouts short but effective, HIIT is the way to go.
And so number 4 is exercise. Exercise causes a dramatic weight loss. And yet the beauty of implementing this is that as you lose weight, you don't get the saggy, baggy elephant effect. And John Gabriel, he wrote a book called The Gabriel Method, and he went from, I have to give it to you in kilos, he was 183 kilos, well, that would be probably nearly 400 pounds, and he lost, I think it was 100 kilos, so what's that, 200 pounds? He's now 220, he's now 83 kilos. And he's got a picture of him in his school, four photos. One where he's obese, another where he's a bit slimmer, another where he's a bit slimmer again. He did this in his 40s, and the last photo is muscular. And you can count his abdominal muscles, you know, the six-pack. And when you look, there's no hanging skin. What did he do? He did the high-intensity interval training, and he implemented this, and he implemented this. There's one other factor, and this was the mind. And he said that he used to picture his new body. Sorry, but you can't lay back on the couch eating a high-carbohydrate diet and picture your new body. But it's part of it. It's having faith. Remember, God's way is built on faith and believing that you can recover. Number 6, hormones. On Friday night, I'm going to talk about hormones. And the contraceptive pill, exposure to plastics, exposure to environmental poisons causes a rise in a hormone called estrogen. And estrogen is a cell proliferator. Cell proliferator means causes massive cell growth. And when a person's hormones are out of balance, it's almost impossible to lose weight. So balancing the hormones is another aspect. For some people, this is an important part. For some people, it's a major part. For some people, it's a minor part.
Hormonal imbalance can lead to weight gain by disrupting how your body regulates metabolism, hunger, and fat storage. Key hormones like insulin, cortisol, estrogen, and thyroid hormones play a major role. When insulin levels are too high due to excessive sugar or processed foods, your body stores more fat, especially around the belly. Cortisol, the stress hormone, triggers cravings and encourages fat storage when it's constantly elevated. Estrogen imbalance, common in both men and women, can cause weight gain, particularly in the hips and thighs. Meanwhile, low thyroid hormone levels slow metabolism, making it harder to burn calories. To balance hormones and lose weight, focus on whole, nutrient-dense foods. Eating protein, healthy fats, and fibre stabilises blood sugar and prevents insulin spikes. Reducing stress through sleep, meditation, and light exercise lowers cortisol levels. Supporting liver health with leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables helps the body process excess estrogen. Finally, getting enough iodine and selenium from foods like seafood and Brazil nuts supports thyroid function. Losing weight doesn't have to be a struggle. With the right diet, lifestyle, and natural methods, you can achieve your goals in a sustainable way. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more tips on living a healthier life. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.